we're going to go ahead and move to Logan, actually, checking out the first however many abilities he wants to go through of the Tidebringer. Trying to figure out what we were trying to do. Yeah, okay, so in this order. First, assessing whether you think it's good or bad design. Second, whether you think the implementation was off or is okay. And then third, what you think we were trying to do with it.
Shit.
Do you want me to type those out?
No.
Okay.
So we got the this is the Tidebringer guy.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, cool. So let's see. The rank 1 is Ebb and Flow, 10 mana, it's an active speed. If this is the first ability you've used this turn, target enemy receives damage equal to the difference between their wisdom and yours, maximum of 5. I assume that's 5
Damage.
points of the skill or 5 damage.
5 damage.
5 damage. If this second ability you have used this what?
Ability. Whoops.
If this is the second ability.
Is the second ability. Typos.
God. Idiot. And you've used this combat cycle. What? Okay, so first it says turn, now it's saying combat cycle. What is what do you mean?
First ability you use this.
Do you want that to be combat cycle?
Cycle.
Yeah. That makes more sense.
More typos.
Second ability. If this is the second ability you've used is combat cycle, target ally loses 1 instance of a debuff affecting them. If this is the third ability you've used combat cycle, target enemy and allies lose 1 instance of a debuff affecting them. If it's the fourth, target enemy or ally loses all buffs and debuffs, and receives 5 damage and X additional damage, where X is the difference between their wisdom and yours. Wow, this is the worst level 1 ability I've ever seen in my life. Not only is it doing absolutely, completely way too much, it's a rank 1 ability.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool that it's got these different positions with different effects, but it's just randomly like, oh hey, debuffs. At level 1, you're dealing with all these debuffs. I am? Well, that sounds terrible.
Right. You would need to either have a way of putting debuffs on them, buffs or debuffs on them, or some other way of doing something. Not only that, but at this point in the kit, or go ahead, sorry, it's yours.
No, yeah, that's pretty much what I just said.
Yeah. The other thing is you don't have any way of casting 3 to 4 abilities at that point.
It's like, hey, I'm a caster, but my first skill isn't letting me do anything cool.
Right.
If I'm a level 1 caster, I mean, make me feel like a level 1 caster. I obviously have the training in magic. Let me do something cool with it. Other than, hey, you do this, and then it helps other people, but it's not very fun.
Mm-hmm.
Also, depending on where it is, which can change, not under your control, then you can totally screw over an ally.
Right.
Or help an enemy. Why would I ever cast this ability ever?
So what do you think we were trying to do with it?
Fucking I don't even know, it was so all over the place.
Okay. Well, let's keep going then.
This is like a terrible see how much worse I am at this than he is. Yeah.
No. I mean, I went through. It's like asking the writer to deconstruct their own novel.
Yeah.
I mean, it's different.
Summon an invisible Azrin. Okay, I don't know what that is.
It's a water elemental.
Okay. Yeah. And it's been filled with double the amount of mana you paid for it. Okay. What's it doing with that mana? What is it even doing at all?
There'd be a bestiary entry. A lot of the time when we went through and we made summons at this point, this is information that I have to fill in for it to make sense. We didn't create what it was going to do at this point. We just put in the summon and then said that we would do the bestiary entry for it.
That is terrible design.
Yeah.
We don't know what it's doing, but man, maybe it'll be cool.
Exactly.
It'll cast things with mana. Okay, but why?
Who knows?
Alright, so I think you can see what I think is wrong with that.
Hmm.
Uh, Lap Gather. 10 mana active. Target enemy and ally receive 5 HP plus the difference between their wisdom and yours, maximum of 5. Oh, here we go again. I don't like this. I don't like that at all. This is not a cool mechanic. It just it feels like you're rolling a dice instead of planning things out because you have no way to manipulate or choose where the ability is going to go off in the stack of the combat cycle.
No, 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 no. Hold on. To make this clearer, if it's the second ability you've used in a combat cycle, so more or less what this, the way the mechanic was supposed to work was that the abilities would do different things depending on in which order you had used them. If
Okay,
you use
so it's
right
impossible at this point. It's impossible to get to fourth on this
or third.
or third. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, because you can only do one active per combat
You
cycle,
can do one active and one basic, right? So really, the abilities only have a duality at this point.
and that's. Uh, I feel like I'm just biased against this setup right now. I don't like. I just don't like the mechanic idea at all.
It's okay. It's fine to be biased.
So, I mean, I get it's like I don't know a good example. What it's doing is it has this this class seems to just have the ability to just mess everyone up all the time, and I'm not seeing it being beneficial a lot of the time.
It seems that that is what it wanted to do. I agree.
It's it literally feels like some kind of it's cool that it feels like it's like a storm, it's like a cyclone happening within a character, but I would never want to play that.
So if you were trying to design a class in which, depending on which order you use the abilities, either using it first or second, and make it interesting, how would you do that? I'm not trying for the people viewing. I'm not trying to defend this kit, only to add information.
Yeah.
Um, because a lot of the issue that we had was trying to figure out how to do that. When we realized that that's what we wanted, we wanted this guy to be a combo mage, kind of, to use a bunch of abilities in a turn and have them do different things when you use them. Like that's what we want the class to be. We realized exactly how hard it was to have 4 different uses for each ability. How much space that took up, you know, design space and literal space and text. Um, and it probably contributed to the class just being terrible overall. But I don't think there's a clear answer for that, or at least we didn't have one. And looking on it now, I'm still not certain.
I think instead of making a combo mage, the way to do some of this would be it's more of like the the later it happens in your turn, the better or stronger it is. It's like you're taking that time to channel it in a way. Maybe this mage is good at multitasking its magical casts. Know what I mean?
That's interesting.
It's doing one thing with one part of its attention in one hand, and then it's maybe doing this other thing in the other one, and it does the second one first, and the first one had time to charge, so it does something else. It does something else better.
So how do you represent that to the player?
What do you mean?
Like, let's say I had to find a way to put that into mechanics, and I want to say, like, the initial thought that you had was that it would work better the later you cast it, right? Well,
Yeah, along that line, yeah.
sure. So later I cast it in terms of stack, later I cast it in terms of turn order,
The
later.
same way these were happening.
Okay, so later I cast it in terms of order of abilities.
So I mean, you're gonna select it,
Hmm.
and it's gonna charge until you activate it on your turn.
Okay, so sort of like how the Augur Guard is working.
Is that what he's doing? I guess in a way, yeah. I just can't think of anything good to do like that unless, cause I see it's supposed to be like some kind of spell weaving, doing stuff all the time. It could be also if a spell happens before a spell before it, that second spell does something extra or turns into something else. They combine or their effects play off each other in some way.
So that's playing with the stack then.
Yeah,
For those watching, what he's thinking about is having the order in which spells resolve on the stack change what the spells do, or have them combined together on the stack.
it's forcing you to think about the stack, your mana, and what effects can happen within specific combinations. It creates this whole new situational thing of, okay, I need this here so I can do that, but if I do that, I can't do this, and this would do better, and that kind of thing.
So you'd be almost exclusively an active based caster playing with the stack. All of your abilities would be actives.
Almost all of them, yeah.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay, so let's keep going and see if we can find any abilities that would work with that out of what we have here. Probably not, but let's check.
Okay, so rank 4, Baptism, it's passive. Whenever you cast an ability, you may have target ally or summon you control gain access to the ability. You could cast into... Okay, what? To any ability you could cast. Okay, my bad. I skipped a whole word that made that make sense.
Sure.
You can have any ally or summon you control gain access to any ability you could cast until the beginning of your next turn. Only one ally or summon you control may be affected by this passive at any given time. Okay. That's kind of neat if you've got the summons. If you're still doing the summon thing, because it allows for the summon to help with the comboing.
Mm-hmm. So I would say that whenever you cast an ability, you may have target ally. You may have target summon you control. Gain access to any ability. So this allows you.
It's like a sorcerer's assistant type summon.
Mm-hmm.
You teach it spells so that it can help you make your spells better.
Right. I think this is fine as an ability to keep.
Yeah, I like that.
If we're still trying to make that concept work with this. Okay.
Rank 5, Shoal Biter. No mana cost. Attack enemy in range. It's doing the same thing. So all of a sudden I went from using really magic to basic attacking for
Which is
effects.
strange.
Yeah, and it even said Tidebringer caster. Why am I attacking things?
Probably to make it fit better with the melee classes. If we're thinking of these in terms of, I'm not trying to defend it for you guys watching. The explanation that I can think of for why we involve this at rank 5 as it looks now is that we have two melee guys. And if we're thinking of having it so that you can dual spec classes in this game, then it's very important to have the trees work well together. And we used to do throwaway abilities at different points within the trees, where it was like a kind of concession to the melee playstyle or a concession to the caster playstyle, which of course we think is wrong now.
Yeah. And I should have brought this up at the last meeting, but I don't think there should be dual specking in the full game either.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that increasingly as a possibility. I think it makes our jobs as designers much harder.
But I mean, I think it makes the classes more fledged out and more important on their own.
Right, right.
And really, in my opinion, that would make them more fun.
No,
Not to mention, getting to rank 10, getting to your full rank would take less time, allowing you to get into the full PvP experience,
faster.
which is what we're basing the game all around.
Right, and a more balanced PvP in general.
Absolutely. The
Yeah,
classes will actually matter.
I agree. I think that there are very compelling arguments for, sorry, against including it, and there aren't so many compelling arguments for including it besides giving players more choice.
Right. And sometimes it's just, man, I don't know how I want to say it. You know what I'm trying to say.
No, I agree completely.
Okay. So, rank 6, Wake Shepherd. May restore 5 HP and mana to summon. To target summon whenever an ally or summon you control would cast an ability from this. That's kind of cool. It sounds a little strong, but the idea is really cool. Especially since what we're trying to do right now is make it so you're weaving your abilities and casting them a lot. But it also is counterproductive in the fact that if this is going to be, well, right now from what we're doing, seems to be like a damaging mage, why would we give him a humongous heal?
It's just to his summons though, to target summon whenever you a summon you control.
Oh yeah, because you just changed it.
Well, this part was always that way. This first part.
Oh yeah, right. Uh, okay. Oh, right. Okay, I just misunderstood. The ally tripped me up.
No problem.
XHP.
I think.
I actually think that's working pretty good. You dealing damage is keeping your summon alive, which is allowing you to deal more damage.
Yeah, I think this class needs to only be able to summon
One,
one summon,
absolutely.
and
Um,
then
and I think it should have. Oh man, if hmm, my problem with it is. So it's right now rank 2 is making it come in with 15 mana, right?
yes.
It's
Wait,
only
enters the battlefield with double the amount of mana you paid for X, 5 mana
oh you
plus
pay for
X.
so you
So it's
choose that.
right.
Okay.
Yeah. Basically, I think we should get the 5+ out of here. But
Yeah.
X mana, so you pay X for it, and then it comes in with double the amount that you paid for X.
This class needs a way to get mana back to itself if that's the case.
Yeah. So maybe this should be what you initially thought. You restore X, but we'll take out the HP. X mana to target, summon, or yourself. Whenever a summon you controlled cast an ability from your list of abilities.
Yeah, so it's like it's giving the mana you spent on it back to you.
Mm-hmm.
Which and it that kind of sounds a little overpowered
Well, you do
because
have
you're
to
getting
cast.
free spell casts, which is a free combo.
But it is the only way to cast more than 2 abilities in a turn.
That's true. Well, it's fine right now. It definitely needs to be looked at again, though.
The other thing is that if you're trying to cast 3 abilities, if that's your goal, right? And 3 is the magic number in
Mm,
terms of having them all go off on the stack, you are having to cast 2 abilities to get there,
that's true.
which means you're spending quite a bit of mana to get to the third.
Alright, I guess it works better than I thought it did.
No, I'm just,
No, I
yeah,
didn't even think of it like that. Is what I'm trying to say.
sure. Um,
Right, so sevening makes the summon invisible
as an elder, it enters the
with
battlefield.
double. It, it already.
It basically summons an elder instead of. It upgrades the summon, which I
No,
don't.
yeah,
Yeah.
an invisible one. Why does it have to be invisible?
It doesn't. The first one didn't have to be invisible either. I mean, basically, what it's allowing you to do is just make it so that when you summon it, it's not targetable by the enemies before you get to use it to cast a spell, and that would reveal it.
Mm. Oh
So
yeah,
you.
because taking action reveals invisibility.
Mhm.
Okay, okay, that's. I didn't even notice the invisible in the first one. Truth be told.
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't. The reason that was included in the first place was for the combination Tidebringer Tribe Maker.
Mm-hmm.
class. Um, but I honestly think that it works okay here.
Yeah.
We
Um.
have,
So what is the upgrade does it just make it stronger?
I don't know. I don't know what it would do. I think maybe what this should be is upgrading it so that you can have two Azerin,
Yeah, not an Ezra and Elder, but it allows you to.
additional Azerin.
Yeah.
Whoops, control. That was the wrong thing to delete. Um, additional invisible Azerin. Okay.
Yeah, that's actually way cooler too.
Yeah, okay, so that brings you up to four that you can use, which was the same number we had before, but it would be used in a different sort of implementation. Two
Mm-hmm.
different sort of implementation, rather. Four. Okay. So we have to consider how many abilities we can use that have four different modes.
Right. So that way they have different combinations,
Right.
and they should all have a base effect.
I don't think we should introduce that at rank one. I think that should be somewhere else. But we can figure out where these things need to go later. We're not
Well, I
trying
was
to rush
thinking
them.
rank one could just be it could just be a base spell. Like you're always gonna want to cast it first. It's what allows everything else to combine.
Okay. The base spell reagent, which allows their modes to combine. Okay, we've got that note down now. Right, lull.
It's passive. Enemies who target you from the middle or back row with abilities that impart debuffs or status ailments must choose between dealing damage to you from that ability or imparting half this. Yeah, this doesn't even make sense anymore.
Gone.
Yeah, gone. Bye
Uh,
bye.
yeah, anything that a lot of the time when we got to the end with the Ayotls, what we were thinking was, wow, there are a lot of status ailments. We should probably have some kind of classes in here that cleanse things. But we don't want to do just cleansing. I mean, cleansing's not interesting. We've done so many different iterations on other things. Why don't we do some interesting way of cleansing things? I think a lot of what we were trying to do was redesign the wheel when it came to cleansing
Hmm.
debuffs. The other thing is that you can't really create skills that cleanse debuffs in a PvP environment, or skills that just do that, because then if you go up against, in a PvE environment, enemies that have debuffs, or sorry, that don't have debuffs or don't buff themselves, then the ability is useless.
Right. I don't know why this made me think of when you were first describing the idols and the Tidebringers.
Mm-hmm.
You made them sound like these wickedly powerful mages that work together to make all this cool stuff happen.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started reading these skills from what they were before, that it just didn't it didn't happen.
It didn't come
It,
across. Yeah, it didn't
no,
render to the player. I agree.
I think that's why I think I was so upset when I started reading that skill. I was like, "Oh,
Ugh.
this not even a little bit of what I was thinking about."
Yeah, yeah. I think in general that we've gotten better about taking the fantasy of the class and making it read better to the player as well.
Mm,
I don't I don't think that we did so well with those here because oftentimes we'd think of a really cool mechanic that we wanted, like
just roll with it.
right, and we would try and roll it through the kit and make it work instead of taking what the kit was giving us and trying to create something different. It'd be like if we took the Cabaretto when we were working on it and just went with the clone HP control sort of class because it worked.
Right now in this one, I'm seeing a primary and a tertiary mechanic for the most part.
The summons being tertiary, the primary being
Spell
combination of spells. Yeah.
yeah, because the summons aren't strong enough to be a secondary mechanic.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the secondary would be, but I'm sure we've got time to figure that out.
Yeah, we are coming up on 4 o'clock though.
Sure. Yeah. No, I mean not necessarily for this
Oh
session.
yeah, when we get back to it,
Hmm.
which and I'm really looking forward to doing the Ayotls. or
Yeah,
just any class really. I
I
like
think
doing this stuff.
I think it'll be a lot of fun. Tomorrow, we'll be doing the meet with the narrative team.
Oh yeah, so we can start working on goblins. That'll be
Yeah,
neat, guys.
we'll talk to all of the we'll talk about all the different classes and what we're thinking of doing with them in terms of storyline, etc.
Right.
Even come up with stuff that we hadn't thought about.
So rank 9.
Yeah, Swellborn.
Swordborn. Passive upgrades baptism. Okay, so that was the
Passive that lets
summon
you
skill thing.
gain
Whenever
control.
cast ability. Target ally. Okay, so target summon and a combination of up to.
It doesn't need to be there.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be there anymore. Because what rank 4 is doing, it covers 7 before 7 even happens.
Right.
In fact, summons. No. No, that because the second half of the skill is only one ally or summon. Your control can be affected by this.
Um, yeah, I know, but you have two summons now.
Right.
You're gonna summon an additional invisible Azurin.
I'm just talking about what are we going to do about the writing of this second
Only
part.
one ally or some.
Ah.
To two summons you control.
Ah.
Oh,
New
hey,
fact,
JJ.
Josh.
What? Yeah. Where are we?
Who's yelling?
Uh,
Well, we're closing in on our 4 o'clock. Um, Here we got through the tribe maker. Only two abilities remain. It was a God, it was a catastrophe.
it was a harrowing process.
Right. We got through the Tidebringer almost all the way to rank 10. We realized that what it was trying to do and what it actually did.
Was lame.
Yeah, it was lame. Um, okay, and the rank 10 is also lame. So let's just talk through this really quick.
Oh my.
All summons you control gain mana equal to your wisdom, maximum of 40, and then gain wisdom equal to. Why?
The thought was at this point that you'd have abilities that dealt damage based on wisdom. When your summons casted them, they would have their own base wisdom that would be influencing the cast
Right.
instead of stealing from you. So here you could super buff all of your summons and have them do tremendous amounts of damage.
For the most amount of mana I've seen in any class.
Yeah, 30 mana. Because it was going to make all of your summons be nukers. But really, if we were going to add this ability at all, it should have been a passive.
Mm-hmm.
And give them all access to your wisdom or whatever. Not only that, but it's just a lame ability. So
It's not level 10.
no,
I do like the name Deluge, though.
Deluge. We'll keep it. I think a few of the names here are fine. I wouldn't include baptism in that list, but
Uh,
I think some of the other stuff can